Welcome to the Teaching Autism and Special Education Community Podcast. Hi, I'm Nikki, a passionate special educator, autism advocate, resource creator with over a decade of experience, and you may know me as the face behind Teaching Autism. This podcast is your go-to place for practical tips, hands-on strategies, and inspiring and funny stories to support special educators all around the world, whether it's building independence, creating engaging lessons, or finding that elusive work-life balance. I'm here to help you thrive inside and outside of the classroom. Let's dive into today's episode and make a difference together. Hey teacher friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Teaching Autism and Special Education podcast. So we need to talk about that special kind of stress that sneaks in right before the holidays. Not from the kids, not even from admin, but from parents, family members, and sometimes ourselves. You know the feeling? The inbox is full of, will there be a Christmas this? Can we get one more progress update before the break? Will you be doing Elf on the Shelf this year? And meanwhile, you're just over here trying to get through the day without stepping on a jingle bell or losing another pair of scissors. So today we're diving into how to handle parent pressure and classroom expectations around the holidays with grace, boundaries, and maybe, if you know me well, a bit of humour. Because let's face it, the season can bring out the best and the most stressed in everyone. The pressure is real. There is something about the holidays that amps up expectations all around. Parents want extra communication. Admin want festive bulletin boards and door decorating competitions. The world wants Pinterest perfect classrooms. And as teachers, especially in special ed, we want our students to enjoy the magic while still making progress on IEP goals, managing sensory overload, and remembering that snowman glue sticks are not a snack. It's a lot. And because we care deeply, we take on that pressure without even realizing it. And so this is why parents feel the pressure too. It's something I've learned the most, is that most parent pressure isn't meant to make your life harder. It actually usually comes from love and fear. So what you'll find is parents of neurodivergent kids will often feel more anxious this time of the year. They see social media posts of big school events and families doing things, and they feel guilty that their child might not cope with that kind of activity. They might worry that their child is missing out, or they might just want to feel connected, especially when communication is already limited. So while it can come across as demanding, underneath it's often worry wearing a Santa hat. That doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything, no. But it helps to remember that it's usually not personal. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to keep communication calm and clear, because the best way to ease parent stress and your stress is predictable and proactive communication. So here is what works really well. Number 1, send a quick weekly update or bi-weekly. It doesn't need to be long. A few bullet points about what you've been working on, what's coming up, and any sensory tips for the holidays. Number 2, share wins early. So before you get the how's their progress email, what you can do is send a quick note saying, I wanted to share this great moment from this week. It builds trust and it softens any harder conversations later. Number 3, use visuals or checklists. Some parents process information better that way, especially if English isn't their first language or they're juggling a lot. Number 4, set clear expectations for special events. So let them know what will happen and what won't so they can prepare their child and themselves. We're doing a short classroom celebration on Friday, no costumes needed. Prevents the 7 a.m. meltdown when someone shows up dressed as Rudolph. And balancing holiday fun with realistic goals. Now let's talk about IEP goals, because this is where the guilt really creeps in. You might feel torn between doing fun seasonal activities and making measurable progress. But the truth is, fun and progress aren't opposites. So if you're working on fine motor skills, cutting out paper snowflakes totally counts. If you're building communication, describing decorations is language work. If you're practicing turn taking, a Christmas game fits perfectly. The key is not perfection, it's purpose. Your students don't need a dozen themed crafts to make progress. They just need meaningful, consistent opportunities to practice skills in a way that feels joyful and low pressure. So give yourself permission to make things simple. No one gets extra teacher points for being exhausted. And then if you have parents who want more, we have all had messages or emails that start with, "I was just wondering if you could also," and ends up with something completely unrealistic like daily photos, extra worksheets, or a whole new behavior plan in the last week before the holidays. And here's your permission slip. You don't have to do it all. You can respond with kindness and boundaries. So something like, "That's a great idea, but we're keeping things simple this week to support student regulation and consistency before the holidays." Or even, "I'll make a note of that for next term when we're back into routine." That phrase alone is magic because it acknowledges the request without committing to more chaos. And remember to give yourself grace. It's okay if some parents don't understand the full scope of what you do. It's okay if you can't meet every expectation. And it's okay if your classroom looks more like controlled festive chaos than a Hallmark movie. Your students don't need perfect. They need you and your calm energy, your predictable routines, your compassion, your empathy. They are worth far more than any glitter craft could ever be. So if you start feeling that pull and that "I should be doing more" voice, try this. Pause and ask yourself, is this adding to my students' joy and growth or just adding to my stress? Because if it's the latter, it's safe to let it go. Because the truth is, most of the magic your students feel this season doesn't even come from decorations and performances. It comes from the sense of belonging that you've built all year long. And that's the kind of classroom culture that's going to last way past Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the holidays. So teacher friend, as you juggle parent emails, holiday parties, and endless glitter, I want you to remember, communicate clearly, stay consistent, and give yourself grace. You don't owe anyone anything extra. You owe your students your calm, your care, and your energy, and that's already way more than enough. You are doing an incredible job. So take a deep breath, refill that coffee, and remind yourself you are not behind, you are human. And that's exactly what your students need the most this season. Thank you for tuning in and joining me for another podcast episode. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon.